Hi there, this is Let's Testify. I am a Jew, Ilumelu. Let's Testify is about real life stories, people's pains and gains, and the way people overcome the difficulties and adversities in their lives. Right here, we offer encouraging words and hope for the possibility of change, growth, healing, and the resolution for all their travails. This show delves into the innermost core of people's adversities. Hi there, and welcome to our next episode of Let's Testify. We are in Abuja. Oh yes, no more Lagos. We are in Abuja, but this particular episode is going to shake the fabric of your life. Hit us up on our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Go to YouTube and watch the full episode. Well, we're going to go back right now for a commercial, but before then, our handle is Let's Testify 1, 2, 3. We're going for a commercial and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Let's Testify. Before we went on a commercial, I did say that we have a show that is going to touch the fabric of your life. I have here with me a young lady called Dovigali Celestina. Celestina, welcome to Let's Testify.
First and foremost, I would just like to say thank you, Miss Aju, for the opportunity to, testify. Well, Dovigale Celestina. Dovigale Celestina is a combination. Dovigale is a combination of two names. The Gale is my personal name, and then the Dovi is my uncle's, name. My story is like the unusual kind of rape story because it's literally killed who I was. I had to recreate my soul. I had to recreate Celestina.
Let me just say this. I don't know, I find it very difficult to do this show. I have not even gotten to the bottom or scratched the surface of what this young lady went through. Starting from age 6, this young lady was, violated, raped, penetrated by someone in the house. And that's what goes on all the time. We think the rapist is a big bad wolf outside the territories of our home. But sometimes we are sleeping with the enemy in the same household. You trust your relatives, you trust your friends, you bringing workers in your household without thinking that you're endangering your kids, your children, your cousins. And that is where this story begins. Celestina, please tell us what happened to you at your aunt's house. I'll have to let you guys know that she's originally from what, Ghana?
Yes.
Please take us from there.
Well, I was only age 5 to 6 when I came over from Ghana to live with my aunt, who happens to be my mom. She's more or less like everything to me. So I came to live with her here. Her husband is into POP. So he has a lot of apprentices as at then, you know. There's this particular one, his name is Daje, he's from Cotonou, because my uncle is from Cotonou, that's Benin Republic. So this particular young guy, he will buy me sweets, he will buy me biscuits, you know. When he go out to work and he comes back, you know, he made me feel comfortable around him. So there was this particular day, Charles came over to our house. They made away with a huge amount of money my uncle was supposed to use for a contract. So my uncle was devastated, including my aunt. So she had to, you know, speak to my uncle's younger sister, who happens to stay around Maraba. So she now asks my aunt to come over to her place, you know, to see if she can raise a certain amount of money for her to, you know, give to my uncle. So she left to her place, and along the line, my uncle is a polygamist. So when my auntie left, my uncle too left the house. He went to his other wife's place. So I was left all alone in the midst of those apprentices. Normally they have where they lodge. They were about 10 or thereabout, about 10, 8. The rest of them said, oh, let's leave her at the house, just lock the door and go with the key. And this particular one, that I was comfortable with and everything, he said no. That the fact that I was a smart kid, I was this kid that, you know, talk a lot and all that, doesn't mean that I can be left all alone at home, that there has to be someone who will stay with me. And the rest said, oh, okay, so who will stay? And he, you know, volunteered himself to stay. So he stayed with me that very day. So while the rest had left, I told him I wanted to go and sleep. He said, okay, I should just go into the room and, you know, lay down. Let's not forget, we were living in 2-bedroom apartment and 2 parlor. We had a smaller parlor and a bigger parlor. So he said, okay, I went to the other room to sleep and said, okay, I should just go and lay there. He will come in later. So while I was sleeping, because I was this, you know, naive child, I know how to sleep a lot. I can. In fact, as a then, when I sleep, I forget myself and then I pee on the bed. So while I was asleep, I noticed someone, you know, trying to, you know, rough handle me. And as a little child, I was, you know, turning side by side. And, you know, before I knew it, I realized that he was pulling my pants off. And then that was when the sleep just, you know, got off my eyes a bit. And I shouted, what are you doing to me? Obviously, I do not know what it means to be raped, what it means to be abused. I really don't know. But there was something in me that said, what this young man is about to do to you is totally out of it. So I was begging him, please, don't do this to me. I didn't know what I was saying, but I knew what he was about to do to me was wrong. So as he was trying to pull my pants, I cried. I was begging. That was how he, you know, used his hand. He was slapping my face, slapping, and, you know, at the end of the day, he used his other hand, you know, to hold my mouth, and I should keep quiet. I cried, but there was no one to come to my rescue. And so that was how he used his fingers to penetrate into my vagina, and so
Let's just do a commercial, right? I will be right back. Welcome back to Let's Testify. If you're tuning in, today's topic is like no other. We have here Celestina, who at the age of 6 years was violated by a workman in their household. A man from somewhere else. Her aunt left her at home. And what are we thinking? What are we really thinking? Mothers, what are we thinking? Aunties leaving children for men to take care of, especially men that are not related. Before we went on a commercial, she said the man started first with his fingers, right?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So he started with his fingers first, and along the line I was crying. He said, "Shut up, you enjoy it." And he now forced himself on me, he had his way with me.
What does that mean?
He slept with me, I don't know.
He penetrated
Penetrated.
at 6.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When he was done, I was crying, I was amidst tears. I was hoping someone would come to my rescue. And that was how he just, because we had this, not this type of chair, but something like this, a white plastic chair inside the room. So he just, flinged me inside the chair. And, I told him I was going to tell my mom I was going to tell them everything he did to me tonight. He was like, "Shut up, if you tell them, I'll kill you." He started beating me. And, he now told me that if I even say a word about it, he was going to kill me. That did I see what he just did to me, the beating and everything, that this is just a tip of an iceberg, that what he was going to do to me will be more than that. And so that night, before it was dawn, before it was day, he baited me in the bathroom and, changed my clothes. I was looking normal in his eyes, and he went to sleep. So immediately it was day, I went out of the house. I went to the neighborhood to play with my friends.
Meanwhile, where was your aunt?
She had to sleep over at where she went to.
And where was your uncle? He slept
went,
somewhere else?
Yeah, slept somewhere else.
Okay.
He went to his other wife's place. So I went out to the other neighborhood to play with my friends. That moment, something changed about Celestina. There's this lively little girl that plays, that laughs, that gist. My friends couldn't see that in me. They were all asking. They called me by my language name, Delali. Delali, what's wrong with you? I couldn't talk. I was afraid.
The moment it threatened you.
I was, as I sat down, it was like something happened to my body, like dissociation. Like it was as if my body left, as if my spirit was the one with them. I was recalling everything that happened in the night. I was, the threat was playing all over again in my head. So as they were asking me, I wasn't talking, and they started playing. As soon as they saw my aunt and my mom coming, they were like, "Oh, Delali, your mom is here, your mom is here. At least you'll be able to tell her what happened." Immediately I became normal. Like I started laughing, I ran towards her. But I didn't understand. And now, because I know when a child is penetrated, and I know when a child is abused, there's something about that child that changes. So I didn't understand, or I don't understand how my aunt didn't say that something about my walking step has changed, or something about me changed. So immediately I went to welcome her. We went inside the house, and the young man was quick to tell my aunt that I didn't wash the dishes. I had left the house. Yes.
That raped you.
Yes. That
was saying that you did not wash the dishes.
I didn't wash the dishes. And so my aunt was upset because the way she was grooming me, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you need to do is, do the chores. So she got upset and asked me to kneel down. I knelt down, and she asked me to raise my 2 hands. I raised it up, and she, put some heavy metals on the hand just to, punish me for not washing the dishes. I was in tears. But even at that, I still kept quiet. I didn't say anything about the incident of what he did to me and everything. Because he had already started setting traps. They were already punishing me. And with what he said, that he was going to kill me. So
you see, that's truly what happens when the rapist will always threaten you. As a child, either threaten you or threaten your parents with serious harm, or they can even say that we'll kill your parents or we'll kill you, or So how long did that guy stay in that household?
He stayed for a very long time, but Because
Did
as
the
a
rape
child,
continue?
no, it didn't continue. But as a child,
I don't understand.
it didn't continue after that particular day.
He did not.
No, he didn't. But whenever he sees me, he throws this, angry look at me, and then I feel frightened. After that incident, when I sleep, like a nightmare, the whole stuff replay, and then I wake up like I scream and all that. So about 2 years later, or before then, I had other people trying to do the same thing to me, but I wasn't raped. I was abused.
Fondled.
Yes, I was fondled.
Because you were constantly in a household where you had workmen
Around.
Were they contractors or construction?
Apprentice.
Okay, apprentices.
Yes.
They were all over the house.
Yes.
Okay, and they lived. The men lived. Were you the
No.
only girl?
I was the only girl as of then. I was the only girl. So they were not living in the house, but they have their lodge. But at some point along the line, some started living at the house. But as at that period, they weren't living at the house. They had their lodge. So there's this particular one, Ogaga from Benin. He lives apart from where the other apprentices were living. There was a time my aunt, I can't really recall where she went to, but I was sent, to go and live with that Ogaga's sister and the children. So Ogaga's house is just right behind the sister's
Okay,
house.
so what? You had to move to somewhere else?
No, my aunt was leaving the house. I don't know, I can't recall if she actually went to the market or where she went to.
Okay.
So she had to send me over to Ogaga's sister's place.
Okay.
To go and stay for the meantime before she comes back. So while I was there, I think I was sent to stay with him, not his sister. But I just can't recall everything that happened that
your
time.
aunt sent you again
Yes,
to stay with him?
No, not the same person. The other person.
I know, to stay with
Ogaga.
to live with him, or
not to live with him.
Okay.
To just stay at that point in time. I think maybe she went to market.
Okay. To wait out there.
Yeah,
She wanted you to wait.
Yes.
Okay.
And her intention was not really like, she was just trying to be protective of me, because then where we were living.
You see, that's the thing. You can't leave a girl child. You can't continue to leave a girl child with friends and even relatives. Once you have a girl child, it's your responsibility really to take care of that child, because anything can happen. And I don't understand why grown men want to sleep with little girls. I don't understand it. So what happened at Ogaga's house?
Ogaga.
Yeah, I'm saying your name, Ogaga. I'm saying your name. Hopefully you're gonna watch this. What exactly happened?
While I was playing with the sister kids, he just came around and asked them to give me biscuits and sweets. So while I was holding the sweet and biscuits, he went in for a while, and then later he came back and he told them that he wanted to go and bathe me and I need to take a nap, because my aunt is always particular about taking your siesta. So I was like, okay, he called me, I should come.
How close is this Ogaga to the family?
He's also an apprentice.
And he knows your routine. He knows that you have to go take a bath. He knows that you have to sleep at a certain time.
Yeah. So he now asked me to come in. I came in and, he asked me to off my clothes, and he started fondling with my vagina. And I started crying. Please don't hurt me. I was crying. I started telling him, please, Uncle, please, don't. It's paining me. So he said he will enjoy it. Kept telling me I will. I said no, I will tell my auntie. So he didn't continue. He just left me.
Okay, left you.
So
at this time you were about seven years old.
I can't recall that.
Yeah, because if it's 2 years after that.
No, not 2 years. Before that 2 years.
Okay,
because it was around that 2 years that my aunt started noticing a change in my body. Started noticing pulses coming out of my vagina. She noticed my face. was beginning to change. A lot of things about my body was changing due to the fact that there are a lot of pus coming out of my vagina. So she didn't notice that at first.
If pauses were coming out of your, if there, pussy drainage from your vagina, it means that you became infected.
Yeah.
Someone infected you. Either the first man infected you or the second man infected you. The first man infected you probably. Well, that's like you said before 2 years. How much drainage was coming out from your vaginal orifice?
So as much.
So did your aunt take you to the hospital?
Yeah, she did. Before the hospital, first, normally I started beating myself because she normally do the beating, but along the line I started beating myself. So she didn't really notice it on time. So it was one night her husband was not around. I had to sleep in a room, without my clothes. So she woke up at night, to wake me up to go and pee because I was really bedwetting then. So she wanted to just wake me up to go and pee so I don't bedwet. So she now noticed my vagina. The pulses were coming out. So she was wondering, she tried to, hoping to see if it's actually a boy and that was there. But there was nothing like boy that she could see, that was visible to her eyes. So she said, okay, maybe she will start using warm water on my private part. She tried and tried. It was becoming worse. So she spoke to a friend of her who happens to be a Ghanaian as well. She's a disciplinarian. So immediately my mom was relating everything to her, that this was what she noticed about my vagina. That one started screaming, oh no, your child has been penetrated, sexually abused. And my aunt was like, no, that she doesn't think anything of such could even happen. So the lady just told her, why not go back and ask this little girl if someone touched her? She was like, okay. She came, she asked me. I couldn't talk, I was still afraid. Kept the whole thing to myself. So she had to leave her house and, come to interview me herself. Started shouting, Missy, who touched you? Like, Missy in Ghana means I said. And she was really, really, she has this temperament. Personally, before she started asking me those questions, I am always, afraid of her because of her kind of person. She's this, So she started asking questions. I still couldn't talk until her husband called her on phone, and so she had to leave. So my aunt just recollect that there was this person I was really free with, a family friend, Mama Juliet. She's late now, blessed memory. She had to come around and, she took me inside the house and she said, Delali, who touched you? I still couldn't talk. She had to threaten me that they are going to arrest me, they are going to do this to me, they are going to hurt me if I don't talk. That was how I was open to say what happened. I didn't talk about the second person that tried to fondle I only talked about Daje. And so the lady got into tears. She got into tears. She started crying and she just looked at my aunt. They spoiled your little girl. My aunt broke down in tears. That was how they had to. Then I was receiving extramural classes at home from a Ghanaian teacher. So she took me to Abaji. There's a private hospital there run by a Ghanaian doctor. He's married to a Nigerian woman, an Igbo lady precisely. So while I was there were sections where the doctors had to, assess my vagina, you wear gloves and, try to, check whatever is checking.
I'll tell you what. Before, now we're at the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Ghanaian doctor here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You were taken there for assessment. We'll be right back to get into this. Welcome back to Let's Testify. If you're just tuning in, we are here with Celestina. Celestina was exposed to a lot of men at a very tender age due to the fact that her aunt will leave her and go run errands. By that time, a lot of people will fondle, call it what it is, use, I was going to say finger, well, let me say finger, and even rape her. So that's where we are. We are at a juncture where she had to be taken to the hospital for an assessment by a Ghanaian doctor.
Yeah.
Take it away. Take it from there.
All right. So while we were at the hospital, there were sections where he had to, assess me. I have to lay on something like a table, and then my vagina is open, and he tried to check whatever he's checking. So there was this particular section that he removed the glove. Like normally there's a nurse that always come with him, but that particular section there was no nurse there. I was the only one with him, and so he had to remove one of the glove and start poking his hand in my vagina. And even at that time I was already in pains because of the pus and everything coming out of my vagina. So whatever you do to me, I feel the pain. So he was poking his hand in my vagina and I was crying.
So when you say poking, what exactly do you mean?
I mean like choking.
Are you sure he was not examining you?
It wasn't an examination. Even as a child, I could tell
you. And he took his gloves off?
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't an
examination. There is a reason you're supposed to examine with gloves. So he just kept like he was having sex.
Yeah.
Putting his hands.
Yes. I was
in and out.
Yes. And I was screaming. I said, "Me pacho, why?" I said, "Please, it's paining me." So he now said he's sorry. He apologized and, washed his hand and, wear back his glove.
I mean, there are cases where we hear of doctors who are that pathetic, where they get carried away with women, young women, even to the point of having kind of knowledge of victims. You're already victimized. You're supposed to be there. I mean, what is wrong with you doctors who act so pathetically like that? A young person comes in already victimized, a child, and then you take off your gloves. Are you all right?
I'm all right.
Take off your gloves and get carried away. Those kind of doctors should be honestly taken to the board of is it medical examiners, and then what happened?
And so afterwards he apologized and told me he's sorry, and because of that I wasn't comfortable anymore. Like whenever he wants to have a section with me, he sees that reluctancy in me, and he tried to make me feel comfortable around him. And at the end of the day,
did you report to your?
No. Before the we were there close to a month before we left. So before we left, the doctor told my aunt to bring the young man that raped me for examination, because he wrote a letter that was given to my auntie to give to her husband. How I should be brought back for another examination.
Maybe
I'm seriously infected. I didn't know about the letter. I didn't know that was what the doctor ever told my auntie. I never knew. So although they didn't go extra mile to catch the young man who did.
But were you treated? Were you treated? Were you given medication and all of that?
Yes, I was given medication, but even at that, it wasn't, because he asked them to bring me back, but we never went back to the hospital. So when my aunt came back, the guy had run away, and the person who brought him to, learn the trade he was learning, the POP he was learning, the person came and begged that they were going to fund the hospital bill and whatever, but they never went extra mile.
That is it. They always offer money. These criminals.